Okay, and here is they are the next runners, Tempest and the commentator. I believe the commentator. I'm really missing right now. So sorry for this. So for being so unprofessional, but Tempest, welcome.
Hi there. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Tempest is going to run according to the schedule. Mega Man Xtreme 2. Starting the Mega Man block. So just a quick interview. So what are we expecting for this?
So, Mega Man Xtreme 2, for those that don't know, is a particular Game Boy Color game that came out in 2001, and it takes place in between X3 and X4. So, if you're familiar with X4, you're actually going to see a very familiar looking character at the very beginning cutscene and stuff. Other than that, this is actually the second of two Game Boy Color games that basically tried to emulate the gameplay of the Super Nintendo style, but also kept in mind the PlayStation style, especially Xtreme 2, I would say, because one character you're going to see me do a lot is Zero, and he is very much reliant on his saber. This is not like Mega Man X3, where there was something of a combination of the two. But overall, I think you all are in for a real treat because I really love this game.
Oh, so when you love this game, so do you remember where and how do you find it?
Uh, yeah, that is a very good question actually. So this is Xtreme 2 is actually the very first X game I properly owned, and the reason for this is one fateful day, I was much younger and I walked into my local GameStop. I looked at what used to be the used Game Boy Color game cabinet, and well, lo and behold, I found the cartridge right there. I still have it to this day. It's actually plugged into my GameCube right now. Uh, and well, the rest is history. Before then,
Nah.
though, I actually did have experience with X1 and X3 in that a family friend's son let me borrow his Super Nintendo, and I got to experience X games through that for the first time. So it definitely had been a while since then. And so I was very happy to try out a X game that I had no idea about.
When you started to run this game?
I had started running it maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, mid June of 2020. So it had been sometime after I'd graduated college, and obviously the pandemic was in its early stages. So I felt like while I had intended on picking this up and speedrunning around 2017, let's just say that some technical issues back then had caused me to give up maybe a little too easily. But my passion was still kind of there, and so I knew for a fact that one day I was going to speedrun Xtreme 2, and well, here I am. It's been my debut game overall, and I'm happy to still represent it, even if the community of active runners is all but a handful, but we're still very happy all the same.
Yeah, that's really nice. Representing the community, even if it's not so active. I know a few games I run also with the same thing.
Well,
So,
I can definitely imagine that. I know that I have somewhat made it a point to pick up other speed games that may not have too much activity or intend to anyway. Like, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with a certain game called Ripple.Zero, but I would highly recommend it. It's a Flash game, but you wouldn't even expect it to be a Flash game. Take my word for it.
okay, I'm going to note that for myself. What is your current PB so we can make some expectations to your run that is going to start in about some minutes?
Right. So I'm going to be doing the any percent extreme no credits warp category. And this is actually fairly new, at least the
Right.
separation
So
between the
I'm going to
credits
be
warp and
doing
non credits warp,
the
because it was actually just
any
recently
percent
discovered by
extreme no
world
credits
record
warp
of
category.
And this is actually fairly new, at least the separation between the credits warp and non-credits warp, because it was actually just recently discovered by world record of 100% extreme world record holder focus site. And technically the no credits warp category is the original leaderboard, so to speak, of any percent extreme, but most recently I did get a PB of around 40 minutes, so we'll see how well I can do, because yeah, my PB, or at least my estimate, let's just say I made it very generous in case chaos is to ensue, which could very well happen.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, your run is about to. You can actually start the run. Have a good luck with this. I'm actually looking forward to it and enjoy it. I will see you next time.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. All right. Well, assuming that we are indeed good to go, hello everyone. Hi, friends and fellow gamers. My name is TempestMask1000, and I'm very, very honored to be bringing the start of the Mega Man block with Xtreme 2. Funny how we're kind of doing a reverse chronological order in terms of timeline stuff, but hey, I am perfectly fine with that. That said, though, I am doing things not alone today. My co-commentator is definitely a very expert Mega Man X runner in general, and has even done some amazing accomplishments such as the Triple M challenge. Time Link, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Tom Link. Technically, like he said, I don't run this game, but I've done this with Tempest earlier. I've done this once before, and like he said, I know enough about the Mega Man X games to give some decent commentary here, hopefully. Draw some comparisons and just comment on things, as Tempest very kindly sent me his notes, and we should be able to bring over a decent show here.
Heck yeah. And this isn't the first time Time Link has assisted me, so I'm very happy to do this with you again. But with that said, let's get this show on the road. So I'm actually having I'm having a little bit of trouble making sure I can show my feed. I'm just gonna need to do a quick little behind the scenes thingy just to help my commentator out. But yeah, so we're gonna start time once I begin select extreme mode. How this is gonna work, though, I'm actually gonna show things off with my options, because that's actually something I do like to do, so that you all know what it is I'm actually doing in the game. So let's go in there really fast. And on the top is the select button function, and that'll be set to scramble change, which is the character swap feature. And then we have rapid fire on and auto charge turned off. Pretty simple otherwise, so without further ado, let's get things going. Time Link, would you like to count me off?
Yep, let's go. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright. So,
Alright, good luck.
thank you very much. Here we go. So, as I mentioned in the little pre-interview setup of sorts, this game takes place in between Mega Man X3 and X4, so right now you all should be seeing Iris right there. She's alive and well, but of course, that's a matter of circumstance right now. I'm sure you all know of the glorious memes that have taken place in one game after, so yeah, with that in mind, though, we're going to show a little bit of an interesting thing here in the intro level, in that technically with Extreme Mode, I can swap right away from the get-go. That's a feature that in the X mission and Zero mission forms the gameplay, which you actually have to do in order to unlock this mode in the first place, is that you normally get the character swapping after you've beaten all the Mavericks and get into the fortress, but in Extreme Mode, it's right there from the get-go. So in the intro stage, though, once I get to that little midpoint with the gate enemy right there, the character that destroys the enemy will be locked in for the rest of the intro stage, so just keeping that in mind. Other than that, though, the reason I do go for X is because this boss right here, Skullhead, or as I affectionately call him, Mega Skeletor, is basically weak to the fact that he just stops right here all the way on the side, just like that. So it's easy to get him right for the picking and all that jazz, and using X's Buster is not only more effective, but Zero's Z-Saber also sort of hits him as if it was a charge shot, and that causes the screen to flash, which is definitely a bit annoying. So yeah, we're also doing it to save your eyes a bit of trouble. That in mind, though, this game does have quite a bit of flashing on the whole, so if you are a bit sensitive to this sort of stuff, then I would definitely say watch with caution. And I'll also bring up that warning for the very final boss, especially. But for now, Tyblin, could you explain the part system?
Yeah. So this game has like a little upgrade shop where we spend something called DNA souls, which we acquire from enemies throughout the game. There's various types of drops in various sizes, 4, 8, 16 usually. And there's also special ones you get after defeating a boss, like after Skullhead right there in the intro stage. It should usually be drops in quantities of 200, like Tempest just got right there. And that allows us, in this case, to buy Saber +1 for Zero, which will greatly increase his damage. Sometimes it's possible to just randomly get only 100, which can mess up with the shop routing in this game. But it seems to be very rare, so we just hope for it not to happen, basically.
The same thing can also happen with the triple clusters, I like to call them, because normally when they give 16, I have originally noticed this when they sometimes give 12. Focus also brought this up to me originally, and upon further inspection, yeah, that's just kind of a thing. Now, I picked up that extra life. Technically, it's a little bit of safety because, well, sometimes Sponge can be a bit unexpected. Game overs are not super duper brutal, but I just like to keep my bases rounded because I have, and as it can be with just about any Mega Man run, some funny things can happen whether you intend it or not. Other than that, I did collect the sub-tank because it's not only along the way and easy to grab that you might as well, but it can also potentially come in handy, that said, depending on if I manage to get some extra health. So, you know, sub-tanks are generally the same as what you might remember if you have played a Mega Man X game before. I gotta make sure my health is at full if I want any collected health scraps to go into the tank. But other than that, we're going up to the first Maverick Wire Sponge, and I'll pass it to Time Link.
Yeah, this fight can be pretty tricky. It's our first Maverick fight. We go here because we want his lightning weapon so that we can get a really powerful technique in the next stage. But yeah, this guy, if you know him from X2, the main deal there was at just below, like, just before he goes down, basically he has a desperation attack in which he goes invincible for a while and just shoots lightning. We really want to avoid that, and right now he's kind of giving Tempest a hard time. You will want him... Oh, that's rough.
Well, that was close.
We want him to grapple the ceiling just like that. That's his longest attack, and we want to like hit him to just about half, and then during that attack, get his health all the way to 0. But as you saw, like, this fight is not even that easy to just survive in, especially if you need to hang out a while and just stall for him to try and do that. Like, sometimes you can opt to just get him below the threshold anyway and just kind of wait out the attack. But generally, like, we really want to do this. It's not that, like, that lengthy of an animation.
That was close.
Unfortunate.
I was surprised that he decided to jump first because he sometimes can do that, but I'm just gonna, like, do a little safety swap to X. Oh, wait, that still killed me? Wow. That's powerful lightning. I keep underestimating that damage. Oh, well. Well, at least that's how y'all know why I go ahead and get that extra life. Admittedly, it is what it is, and what he decides to do is purely up to his AI, so, yeah, it's just as Time Link said. And, you know what? At the very least, we can assure that after the fact, it'll at least be a little more smooth sailing. So I'm just gonna play it safe and just give myself just a bit of serious time.
Yeah.
Okay, one more hit, and there we go. Nice.
Hey, yeah, good stuff. This is probably the hardest thing for a while, yeah. And the next stage, like I said, we're gonna get a very powerful technique for Zero. That'll help us out with future boss fights a lot, and obviously, once we inevitably hit the Mega Man tradition of the refights, we'll be a lot stronger.
Absolutely. Now, I should also mention that as I go back into the parts shop and get this little energy saver part right here, which will definitely add to the amazing strategy that y'all are going to hopefully love. The thing about DNA souls and unlocking parts in the shop is that you also have to go at it with a certain amount of unspent souls, meaning that if your total of unspent DNA souls is a certain number, then that part in the shop will unlock. So in the case of Saber Plus 1, it is 200, but if I got the 100 random chance from Skullhead, that would have put me at the inability to even look at the part there. So yeah, just a couple of things to keep in mind as we go about. But yeah, we are coming to our first armor capsule, and that's actually how Zero's going to get his little technique. Funny that, considering Dr. Light usually makes the capsules for X. Hang on, I gotta be on the ground to do this. I'm going to quickly explain how techniques with Zero work, though, because there are two types. One in which you can activate it from the menu, and it'll be sort of a automatic response. And then there's the type that you do by inputting a button combo on the ground, particularly a directional input and then the attack button. So, for instance, what we're actually going to get from Tunnel Rhino is something that you can activate by pressing down plus B in midair. So that Drill Crush technique is actually also going to be really helpful too, because it's one of those things that does not waste any weapon ammo. And as you can see right there, Zero actually has a global ammo bar as compared to where X's weapons have ammo per weapon. So keeping this in mind, it actually is a bit important that we get the energy saver for this very reason. And I'm actually going to equip it once we get closer to the boss gate, but it's not like I forgot it's there. Don't you all worry.
Yeah. Something that's worth mentioning is specifically like we will defeat most bosses with Zero, because generally his techniques are better, and it's actually the case that only the character who defeats the boss gains their weapon/technique. So like we really want to land the finishing blow on most bosses with Zero. So in the case of Wire Sponge, like you could swap to X, for instance, like with what Tempest did, and have that safety of tanking a couple extra hits, but then the final hit you really want to land with Zero. This right here is Zero Final, it's what we gained from the light capsule earlier. It's usually a one-time use attack because it just drains so much of the ammo bar, but it's really, really strong to compensate for that. And now that we have the energy saver, it drains a little less, and we can use it twice, and that plus a couple well-timed saber slashes basically takes out any boss with ease.
It's with that in mind, too, that I'm going to try and hit bosses for the most part with the jump slash, because it does a little extra damage than Zero's other basic slashes. So yeah, it's a more effective, and the basic formula goes down as all bosses generally have 32 health at default. So basically what we're looking at is I believe it's 4 jump slashes and then 2 Zero finals. Now Zero final also takes a little bit to use in between, because, you know, iframes, I don't necessarily want to hit foes while they're already in iframe animation, otherwise that's going to be a wasted technique, and, you know, that's no fun. But other than that, yeah, generally basic stuff as far as things can go. Although I will mention Zero Final is actually a technique that goes after the first thing that the dashing Zero touches, meaning that once it identifies its main target, then it'll sort of stick with that. And there is one sort of oddity of an object that can sort of... oh, wow, that actually was enough to kill me. I didn't think that contact would kill me. Oh, well.
Unfortunate.
But yeah. So, in other words, if there happens to be enemy obstacles in the room as I'm about to activate Zero Final, I want to be careful of that, is what I was going to say. Words can be hard to find sometimes.
Yeah. This climb's a little rough. You don't actually have many vertical options at this point in the game, so you just kind of brawl yourself up, take a little contact damage from something above you every once in a while. There are health refills, and there's also a capsule right at the top of this that we really want to get. This, I believe, is the foot pods for X, which will allow for better movement options in future stages and a couple skips even. So even though this is, again, any percent Xtreme, where we don't technically need to collect just about anything, I would say, we'll still get this and that, because it just makes the run faster or better.
And not to mention that if you were to try and take on the second to last stage as X, you actually do need the foot parts. I'll explain why when we get to her level in particular, because you saw a Reploid woman by the name of Burkana after we defeated Tunnel Rhino. She is a very rare case of a main female antagonist within a Mega Man game. And so Gareth there, the knight-looking Reploid, is actually kind of sort of her, I guess you could say, servant. Technically, she created him. We actually don't know if he too was also a scientist, though, that worked with her, because that's the thing. We're on an island, and there's a Reploid research facility, and Burkana was a scientist, so, you know, it was one of those things. I mean, I guess if you think back to how there's Copy X in the Mega Man Zero games, you know, I think Time Link knows.
I know. Truth be told, I really don't know much about the lore of this specific game, but I'm learning as everyone else is right now, and I'm very invested.
All right, coming up to Volt Catfish. So this guy usually likes to give you a bit of trouble because he has all sorts of attacks that can make your life a bit more painful. But, you know, Zero Final, as long as you try to be wary of his jumping around, you should be fine. The funny thing, though, is that, and this should also be mentioned, one advantage X's weapons can have over Zero's techniques is that if... Oh, that's actually Fast X. Let's actually explain that one first.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Do we know why this happens yet?
We still don't.
Right?
We still don't. It's a phenomenon. It's a
yeah,
phenomenon.
it's kind of funny.
So,
but yeah, sometimes after a boss kill, like the weapon gets sequence will just have, well, literally fast text like that, and it saves a couple seconds each time it happens. But there's no known way to like consistently reproduce it, so it's just kind of a nice surprise whenever it does happen.
Focus does theorize, though, that sometimes it can happen from a stored damage frame so like the moment you get hit, but also defeat the boss potentially. It has sort of shown in a practice run the last time I did this for an event. So, yeah, but you know, it's. Oh, come on, please, thank you. Cannons like to be rude. The general gist is that it does save a little bit of time, but, you know, it's not a make or break. But we do like to see it.
Yeah. Blast Hornet stage actually has a pretty significantly different design from what was in X3.
Yes.
It's more vertical now, and we got to use X's upward stash earlier to skip a little section. This, I believe, is the body capsule for Zero, which is basically armor that'll reduce damage. Again, not technically needed, but very, very nice to have. And I feel like we're coming up to the final mid-boss in this stage. This, I don't know if it has an official name. Probably not.
Yeah, no, not that we know
little
of.
Security drone thing, I guess. There's these 4 lights around the room. You can only attack whichever one is currently lit up. 2 will be lit up simultaneously at any one time, and depending on what kind of patterns you get, you can take the mini-boss down faster or slower. Just a little up to luck.
And, yeah, it was obviously the slower pattern, whereas the game was probably just paying back for the last time where I got a really good pattern. All good, though. All in good fun, I suppose. It's also worth mentioning Xtreme mode does have some visual or, like, notable differences as compared to playing some levels or fighting some bosses as compared to X Mission and Zero Mission. The thing that makes Sponge hard in Xtreme as compared to Zero Mission is that his strike chain actually deals damage to you if you touch the chain, whereas in Zero Mission it only deals damage to you if you touch the tip or Sponge himself. There are other differences too, like the blinker wall, which is what Rose Zorn and I like to call it. It does the 2 lights instead of 1 in Zero Mission, and then, well, let's see here. Yeah, he's coming up next. There is one very drastic change for an obstacle in Flame Mammoth level, which will be after this, so Right now we're going to Overdrive Ostrich, and actually, I think I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to switch to X for this one, just for the heck of it.
Okay. Yeah, this level again has ride chasers. The weird thing about how you control these ride chasers is you have this little attack right there, where X, in this case, basically like holds up the ride chaser and then gains a hitbox at the front. You can do that in two ways. I think you can press, I think it's shoot, or you can press up, which for some reason is better because like you gain, I believe you gain back movement sooner, and you can like it's like just easier to wield because I don't know. I think the other one just has more end lag.
Right. Yeah.
This section, these like tornado generators. The tornadoes are instant kills, so in some cases we have to use iframes to try and get through on a decent cycle. In some cases we just have to wait because there's no convenient enemy around. I believe there's a capsule somewhere up there, but that is only required for 100%. I think at this point there's no significant capsules that would net us a benefit.
Right.
We basically routed out so that we get the capsules with the benefit early. Most importantly, like obviously Zero Final and X's foot pods.
Yeah, and the 100% route, it's actually, we would get that not just because it's useful, but we would also get Sponge's part. So, in other words, by taking care of Zero's 4 Mavericks, which is the bottom row, sooner, this also gives us the viability of using him to get X's stuff without needing to backtrack. So that's what, I think that's one of the things that has made the 100% extreme category a bit more of an active thing, because I know there have been quite a bit more runners that have posted runs for stuff on the leaderboard with that particular one. But yeah, you know what? I'll just finish him off. I totally forgot I had another Zero Final in reserve, but you know what? I'm just like,
yeah. Drill Crush, which is Tunnel Rhino's technique, is like a pretty consistent way to take him out, regardless of that. Whenever he like leaves one side of the screen, he disappears for a bit and reappears from the background. And, like he can jump and leap around the arena, waste a bit of time, but generally Ostrich is not exactly a fight that's concerning in any way.
So now we're going to Flame Mammoth stage, and you're going to notice a very interesting thing here. Any Mega Man X music fanatics will probably listen to the first few seconds of the tune and think to themselves, well, wait, this isn't right. Yeah, right now you're hearing, Launch Octopus's level theme instead of Flame Mammoth's proper theme. And the reason for this is because Capcom, when making the Japanese version of this game, accidentally scrambled the two. So, conversely, we will be hearing Flame Mammoth stage music when we get to Launch Octopus. Thank you, Zero. I was going to say, get out of there, please. But other than that, yeah. It is fixed, though, in the worldwide version, so this is only unique to Rockman X2 Soul Racer, the Japan version of this game.
It's worth noting that at the start, the section where you just damage boosted through the lava, the fireballs that you occasionally saw bounce up actually deal a lot more damage and are way more threatening than the one tick the lava does. I don't know why it's like that, but it does just let you pass through that entire section at the very bottom.
Yeah, the fireballs in extreme mode just about instant kill you. In fact, they do instant kill you technically, but it's also like, I guess that sort of scenario it does enough damage that it might as well. You know, I never really looked into the calculation behind that, but yeah, no. Basically, don't touch the fireballs in extreme mode. Otherwise, if you've played X Mission, it's whatever. So, an interesting thing is that normally, if I were to do the 100% route, I would actually go to beat Mammoth as X. And the reason for that is because while he and Zero still get the Fire Wave, it's one of the techniques that it actually give them the same thing in this game. The Fire Wave from Zero requires me to be on the ground and hold down and then press the attack button, which therefore requires him to be stationary. Whereas in X's case, it's a shootable weapon regardless of what's going on. And admittedly, that is a bit more convenient than Zero's Fire Wave, but technically, if you did beat Mammoth as 0, it's not the end of the world. You can still open up the way to X's capsule using that variant.
Yeah.
I should also mention the little silver platforms. Those are actually checkpoints, but those particular ones have it where the game autosaves. And TimeLink, if you'd like to explain that one.
Yeah, basically, those specific ones are like, there is a battery save feature on this game, where if you reset using ab.select on the GBA, then the game will basically automatically ask you to revert to your latest battery save, but that can only be used once. So basically, in an emergency one-time thing, we can make use of it. Hopefully, we don't have to. But it's there if we need it, and it's nice.
And the best part is it does not invalidate the run, so you love to see it. Technically, Xtreme 1 also has the same thing going as well, so yeah, nice things to keep in mind. But now we're moving into Neon Tiger, and this boss I actually want to defeat as X because there's a certain trick I'm going to do on Octopus's stage. And for that, I'm actually going to need the Ray Claw, which is the weapon that X gets from Tiger, so we are good to go. Not too bad.
Yeah. Neon Tiger stage also has a pretty on-the-way life pickup for X, which Tempest picked up earlier. So X actually gets a little usage here. Not that much, so this is his only boss weapon, unfortunately, but it does see use. This is not an exclusively zero run, as much as it might look like that.
Yeah.
It is still Mega Man Xtreme 2 after all.
Exactly. But yeah, we are now moving into Launch Octopus's level. This is the final of the Mavericks. And mind the seawater, watch out for that dangerous marine smell. But other than that, we are now hearing Flame Mammoth's level theme as I alluded to beforehand. Honestly, it's kind of a banger here. I actually like it. It kind of works really well. That's not to say that I have a thing against Octopus's theme. It actually fits quite surprisingly. But yeah, that's the last life up I'm getting because the rest of them in the other stages, they're a bit out of the way, so it's gonna be a little more time lost than necessary. The reason I purposely went for Tiger's life up as X, though, is to assure the even split between him and Zero. Oop! Well, that just happened. Well, hey, I guess that would be a good time to use the thank you game. I was like, why aren't you letting me do it? Well, there you go. So, yeah, as TimeLink mentioned, autosave. You go to the continue menu, and then you get right back to it. I'm just gonna try and be a little more careful. That doesn't usually happen when I do that section. The blowfish enemies usually have it where their little suction gets me to safety and stuff, but, you know, I also try to bust them out as soon as possible to regain mobility. You know, those are kind of a enemy that I'm sure you all would be familiar with if you've played the original X. And now we're moving into the Utuboros mini boss fight, and that could be I mean, it's not a bad spawn. I think I personally would have wanted him to be on the other side, because as you can see, I'm using the rapid fire buster to rail on his weak points, but hey, that's not too bad.
It's interesting to me that you can hit the tail here, because I think in the original you could only hit the head.
I think you could hit both, but I'm pretty sure that because he was longer in the original, it's probably easier said than done.
Oh. Yeah, alright.
Time to make some calamari. Order up!
Yep. This guy is very weak to the Ray Claw. The basic strat here is we're going to use Ray Claw. That gives him a pretty long stun animation, and then we switch to Zero, do a couple slashes, and then our Zero finals, and then we should already be as good as done. This can be a pretty tough boss usually, but this particular strat, like, he's still in that weakness stun animation from Ray Claw, losing his tentacles, and yeah, he's just already gone.
And that's why I like some seafood. I'm actually not a big seafood person, though. So I'm a liar.
Right, this is where we go and check the parts shop again. All 8 Mavericks are done. Hopefully we should have plenty of money by now.
Actually, we So that's actually one mistake that I used to make. It's actually I totally forgot back in the day that you want to check the stuff after we've beaten 2 fortress stages. So actually, I'm going to take a safety death right here because I just realized that would actually be a
that's
very
reasonable.
very okay. So now, as I was saying, although Time Link isn't wrong, technically that's what we would do in the X mission route, because there are a couple of parts that I should be able to get for X by now, but by beating the bosses of this stage and the next one, we should have enough for the full set, which will then allow me to go really ham on the remainder of the game.
Yeah. I believe with enough luck you could already get the full set by this point, but I guess going after this stage basically ensures you have it because you get a couple extra souls here.
Yeah.
And again, you need to have a specific amount of unspent souls. I believe the most expensive part in our case is 2,000 unspent souls for it to unlock in the shop. So, yeah, I guess putting it off one extra stage, while it does rob us of the little extra firepower, helps ensure we get everything in the end.
Alright, so coming up is a familiar looking doggo, or I usually just refer to him as a wolfo, because that's technically what he is. It's Velgarder from X1. Now, because the Hadouken isn't accounted for here, obviously we don't have a faster way of taking care of him, but this could be a bit, thank you, safety. And that right there is why I get the sub-tank. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Velgarder's definitely been upgraded in extreme mode. Does more damage, has more attacks, I think.
Yes.
Definitely a tricky fight.
Yeah, every Maverick 2 has like a little extra property or extra attack in extreme mode altogether. So, definitely something that makes this mode interesting on the whole. But also just the fact, too, that extreme mode does give you the true ending. X mission and Zero mission give you sort of abbreviated halves of the game. Ooh, I forgot. I guess the wall kick did not register. But, yeah. Essentially, extreme mode does give you the true ending of the game, which therefore also equates to 8 Mavericks and then 1 final stage with a true final boss. So, you're basically playing the full game doing it this way, but I will admit it is quite neat that the game makes you have to play the halves in order to make that unlockable. It's kind of an interesting way of doing things that I don't believe a lot of games go for nowadays. But yeah, the skip I just did, we call it platform skip. I use a couple of specific dashes and damage boosts to get across that instant kill electricity, because you all saw that touching it was enough to kill Zero in one, all at once. So yeah. The thing about dashing in this game is that because this is a Game Boy Color game, there's no dedicated dash button in Xtreme 2. So the other way of doing it is double tapping in a side direction, which is something that the X games did normally let you do as well. But then there's also holding down and pressing A. I swore that was something that you could do in the Zero games, but I guess I was wrong, because upon revisiting them, I guess I was sort of mistaken.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about anything like that. Nor would I know anyone who would want to do that. Alright, this though, this boss is officially known as Isat and Suilo, I think?
Yes.
It's commonly known as the Sphinx tank though, and it's known for a reason, because pretty infamous, one of the hardest bosses in the game. Strategy here is to use Zero Final at a certain height, such that it basically deals damage to both of the faces right there. These two faces, the top one, the little blue one, and the big one at the bottom, they actually share the health bar. If one goes down, you still need to do the other. So we can try and get damage on both with Zero Final, and then use a Zero's Drill Crush and like his mid-air maneuverability to like pull back, hopefully avoid damage ourselves and still damage both of them. But ooh, this could be tight. Maybe get the final blow with X.
It's so close, but iframes.
Almost a double kill.
Oh wait, save point, right?
Yeah.
Never forget the autosave. But yeah. Honestly, that's okay, though, because this run is still going quite well and very much under estimates, so it's as I said, I give myself gracious estimates just in case these sort of things happen. And honestly, you know, it's basically what I'm trying to say is it's not like I was expecting 2 miracles to happen in a row, so you know, all is well, really. I'm just really happy to show off this game and the run all the same.
Yeah, it definitely also hurts on future attempts just not having that ammo for Zero Final, because it does not regenerate upon death, so your first attempt's going to be your best shot, basically, and you might not have full health going in because of the stage. Even though it does use X for the most part, because of his dashing and just his better maneuverability to get through the lava sections, which, interestingly, is not instant kill, as much as you might think it is.
Yeah, we did see that earlier in Tunnel Rhino's level as well, so yeah. There we go.
Those were beautiful Zero Finals.
So
That's what you want to see.
So the funny thing is that Focus used to do it where you needed to use Zero's air dash to get close to the faces, but somehow upon practice run, we both realized, oh hey, you don't need to do that, a jump is enough. It's funny because that basically means I've discovered a strat in this game, something that I never thought I'd do in my life, but there you go.
Alright. We just bought a couple of parts. We bought parts for X, finally. We bought Buster +1, Buster +2, and Ultimate Buster. And now he'll be able to do more than 1 damage a pellet, which would have saved us in that last fight, but hey. And we also got Saber +2 for Zero, which is going to greatly increase his damage for the final stages as well. Ultimate Buster for X makes every charge, or every pellet a shot, basically. So you can see X is just throwing out shots rapidly. And I think this cutscene right here, who you enter this as determines what part of the stage you'll play next. Is that correct?
Yes, particularly in Extreme mode, because for X mission and Zero mission, the game already knows what you're going to be facing by default. But in this case, it's basically like the intro stage itself, where I normally go with X's path, so I want to defeat that claw enemy on the gate with X, but if I did it as Zero somehow, then I would have had to do the rest of the level as Zero. So, yes.
I believe Sorry?
No, it's fine. I was just going to say, I will say, I really dig the fact that Capcom threw in these sort of details, those little things that can differ between Zero and X for sure.
Yeah. I believe it is mandatory to take X's path in this stage in 100% because the special light capsule with the Street Fighter style moves is only in here.
Yeah, it's funny too because
that concerns us, of course, but
yeah,
it's worth mentioning.
And you're gonna see the exact area where as we're doing this vertical climb too, because you'll notice these purple blocks with the electricity, those little walls, but then you're noticing right there, a little bit to the right, is a gray one. The electricity there is actually fake. You can go right past it, and it'll take you to that light capsule just like that. But now we're coming up to Berkana, and she likes to use the alphabet against us, so we do not like the alphabet. Timelink, care to explain why?
Yeah, Bakana has tried to learn the alphabet, but she only got as far as the first 2 letters, so she keeps trying to throw these A and B balls at us. One locks our jump, the other locks our shoot button respectively, and that also turns the walls or floor into spikes respectively. Usually this doesn't concern us at all, because as you can see, with just a normal jump, with Ultimate Buster, we have enough height to just reach Bakana without even using the wall, and just pellet her to death with our now upgraded shots, and that is basically all we do. This fight can sometimes be a concern if you get hit early or something, but generally we just take everything out using those shots.
Oh my god, it's Sigma! Who would have guessed?
No way. Oh, what an unexpected turn of events. I believe this stage is only available in Xtreme mode, so in the combined mission, basically.
Yes, because, of course, the X mission and Zero mission end with the respective foes of Berkana for X and Gareth for Zero. And that's actually a good point to bring up too. The reason that I don't go for Zero's level is because while it could theoretically take a little less time, Garrett's boss fight is a lot more RNG heavy in that he chooses to do certain attacks whenever he likes, and that's definitely not fun for us because this certain attack where he jumps all the way to the ceiling makes him invulnerable to hits because, you know, he's off the screen and stuff, and you know, it's just, it's not fun. I would say that he's nearly as infamous as Isaz and Sawilo.
We are currently in the middle of another huge Mega Man tradition. There can hardly be a Mega Man game without one. It is the refights. 8 capsules, we'll have to fight all the Mavericks again. Thankfully, we have Saber +2 at this point, so they go down quite a bit faster. But this time, we only have 2-0 finals per stage. So ideally, we'll want to use those on Sponge and just kind of slash down the others normally. Which is not that big of a deal, but, you know, there's 8 of them. I think there's health refills you can take after every one.
Yes.
So it's not that bad. But, yeah. Something that we can talk about here, though, is, I don't know if we ever, like, explicitly explained this, but the category here is called any percent Xtreme no credits warp, and this is where you would do set credits warp. It's pretty close to the end of the game, unfortunately, but it's a really interesting trick because of just how simple it is. The way you credits warp in this game, anyone can do it at home. You enter any refight capsule, any one of them, and you open the menu, and you go to exit. And congrats, you'll have warped to the credits of the game. I don't know why it's like that. I'm not sure anyone knows, but the credits warp is relatively new. The categories have been, or there have been new categories created for it, but this is basically the old category that does not include the credits warp. There's only relatively little content left from this point, but we do still get the 8 refights, and then, of course, we gotta end it by beating Sigma at the end.
That was so weird, though. I guess I wasn't fast enough to stop Octopus from doing his life drain tornado attack. That's definitely a rare occurrence you'll see from me, folks. Alright, Sponge time. I'm actually going to do a little Fire Wave preemptive 2, because this actually is... Fire Wave is Sponge's technical weakness, so let's see here, one sec. Oh, wow, he wasn't even hurt there. Okay, no problem. There we go.
Alright, good.
And hey, that's why we have 2, so there you go.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just gonna swap back to X.
Point. I believe it's only these 2?
Yeah, Hornet and Ostrich.
Alright, yeah. Not much different from the initial fights here.
So it is worth mentioning at this point that I will bring back the flashing lights warning because Sigma Phase 1 is pretty much a repeat of X2's Phase 1 for him, but Phase 2 is an original boss called Sigma Beast, and the way that they show the damage happening, like with Skullhead when you hit him with Zero's Saber or X's Charge Shot, is that the screen will flash a lot, and that is where we usually try to warn runners. Runners, people, anybody really. So again, if you have sensitive eyes, once we get to that point, I would highly recommend looking away. But other than that, we are done with the refights. So let's go on to Sig himself and say hi. It is worth mentioning too, I'm actually going to do a sudden attack strat change because Sigma, interestingly enough, is weaker to the air dash slash that Zero can do. So, yeah. By the way, Zero has the air dash.
All specific attack to be weak too.
I know, right? But I gotta also be careful. His body does deal a lot of damage, and I have died to him at least a couple times before that way. Okay.
Definitely, it's not an easy fight, especially since you basically need to make contact in order to get that air dash slash off. I'm surprised something like that even has different damage values, honestly. Alright, This is Sigma Phase 2, large sensitivity warning right here.
But a banger alert as well.
Phase, we're not even going to be doing damage for it, to it for a while. We first need to buster down this armor, basically. We do this with X's Charge Shots. In later forms, sometimes that won't work anymore because he changes color, and then I can also only be weak to Zero Saber or only excess charge shots, but that doesn't change anything about our strat. Then we actually deal damage to Neo Sigma's body right there every once in a while when the armor is down, basically, and we basically get one hit in and then continue.
Alright.
Time is going to be as soon as Neo Sigma's real health reaches 0, so pretty shortly. And...
Not this time!
Okay. That was very close.
Alright, and
Alright.
time!
Time! Nice! GG!
So, yeah, that was at least a minute over my PB, but that was still a pretty good run, all things considered. I'm pretty happy with that time.
Yeah. Looks like a 41-29.
Indeed, and
Pretty good.
yeah, definitely good, especially considering some of the other things that happened earlier. So, yeah, no, this was really nice to show off. Thank you to the Sonic Adventure era folks for allowing me to bring this game. For those that don't know me, I'm actually part of the Sonic 06 community, so yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I figured, hey, I might as well submit some of my bread and butter to this thing, and you know, I'm glad I get to do it. But yeah, this game is so much fun. I would highly recommend looking into it. Of course, I did use emulation because this game can be a bit hard to find, and the Japanese version is preferred because text scrolling is much faster because you cannot skip the cutscenes, sadly. But I would definitely recommend at least giving it a casual play. And the Xtreme games are downloadable through the 3DS Virtual Console, so if you do happen to have some Nintendo credit that you can use in that store, I would definitely consider looking into that. Other than that, though, yeah, TimeLink, where can everybody find you?
Me? I mean, I actually don't stream a lot of Mega Man stuff anymore. More lean into like RPGs and stuff. It started with the Mega Man RPGs, but yeah. It's gone on to Mario stuff now, and I don't know. I still plan to stream Mega Man stuff from time to time, but yeah. I've moved on to other things for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely respect that. I mean, I've definitely tried to introduce myself to all sorts of games, so yeah, no, definitely. I would recommend checking out his streams though, because I did see him recently do Sticker Star. That was certainly fun to watch. But
yeah. I'm still glad to like participate in the occasional Mega Man thing though. So if there's like a big event happening, then I'll definitely join in. And you know, if someone hits me up for commentary, then I'm always up. So yeah.
Thank you for joining me, man. I always appreciate it.
No problem.
As for me, if you want to follow my Twitch, I do go by TempestMask1000 here. I also got a YouTube channel of the same name. I do not have a static streaming schedule because I am trying to get life stuff sorted out as one would. But if you want to follow my Twitter, where I would try to post any updates on such, I go by at @It'sTempestSteve. So, yeah. Now, technically, this won't be my final run of the event. Tomorrow I will be bringing Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's going to be a fun time, so I hope you all are ready for that. Other than that, though, thanks again for having me, Sonic Adventure era community, and we'll hopefully all see each other again soon. Until then, ciao, matey.